Welcome to Friday Facts number 415. Fix, improve, optimize. And I have my wonderful optimized friend with me. How you doing, Mojo?
Hello.
Yeah. So, today we have a Friday Facts, a different Friday Facts, an optimized Friday Facts by the wonderful CD.
Optimized, a dense one.
Yeah, it's weird. Seating Friday Facts are somewhat like that. All right, so we've had a lot of time in 2.0 development and spent on new features, quality of life, still take care of smaller details and technical improvements. And then we have multi-threading. Multi-threading is very important. Every game should have as much multi-threading as possible. Has not caused
It's
any.
very hard.
Well, no. Hang on. I've seen the forums. I've seen Reddit. I've seen all these places. They assure me that multi-threading is very easy.
Oh yeah. That you're right actually. Yeah. According to Reddit, it's easy. You just press the multi-threading button.
Yeah, you throw more cores at the problem. Just have every blighter on their own core. Let's go. No more blighter problems. Ever so easy. So,
just use the do multi-core function.
Oh, there's a function, is there? Oh, that makes life so much easier. Okay. All right. So, we have recently a desync bug was reported to us involving the modding API and multiple Windows and Linux computers that a player was using. My first instinct was to blame the mod developer for doing something wrong, but I've seen enough bug reports over the years to know dismissing one without first investigating is a bad idea and a great way to eat crow.
I'm pretty sure there's been an FFF in the past about exactly that too.
Oh yeah, there was. It was not that long ago where our city was like, nope, this is not my problem. It was Insertus. It was Insertus going faster.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, no, it can't be done. And then he sat down and looked at it and like, oh, it can be done. Okie dokie. Our city could not reproduce the desync. The player was able to with ease, which is very, very important. If you can reproduce something over and over and over, then you at least have some way of going, okay, this is definitely a bug, not a one-off. Because sometimes the RAM flips the bit and nobody knows. First thought it was a Windows versus Linux issue. We've had many of those, but it was player able to reproduce it with Linux on both computers. Next, I thought it was a hardware problem. We've seen our share of faulty computers that just don't do what they're supposed to do, especially with the recent lot of Intel CPUs. Convincing somebody their hardware is broken is difficult and time-consuming in the best scenarios. Actually, we had someone in the community recently who had a RAM fault that only shows up in Factorio.
Oh yeah, because it does hammer it in a very specific way.
Yeah, it does hammer RAM, and the machine runs fine for everything else, but with Factorio, the last little bit of RAM just said no. And of course, being a laptop, changing out the RAM is somewhere between not possible and hard. Anyway.
Actually, a RAM fault would also cause a lot of desyncs in multiplayer. That's the other thing with the game is that because everything is validated, you pick up on RAM faults very quickly.
Yes. After several failed attempts to reproduce the issue on my computer, Boss Kid, using his multiple computers, was able to do so. Being able to reproduce bugs locally, I guess around 90-95% of the time spent fixing reported bugs. With Boss Kid reproducing the issue on demand, he was able to narrow it down to the fact that computers had a different number of CPU cores. With that newfound knowledge, he was able to make a test that could be run on my single computer to be able to reproduce the desync by artificially pretending I had less cores than I did. The problem ended up needing 4 different moving pieces all come together to expose a threading deterministic issue that's been in the game since I put it back there in July 22, 2017. So it's all RCD's fault. Remember this? It's RCD's fault. And he did add multi-threading. Remember Reddit? He added multi-threading back in 2017. Got you bitching. So a mod needed to listen to chunk generation event and change the tiles on a chunk when it happened. Now, there's lots of mods that do this. Dangerous, which just replaces all the ground with ore. But that's one of them. Also, I want to call it the Mines of Moria, which is
it was that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Redmu or a Comfy, I don't remember which one. It's one of their scenario codes where, same story, it replaces every single chunk with underground chunks where you're mining out a cave system, which then leads it to the next part, which is mod need to request several chunks to be generated. So in the Mines of Moria one, when you're mining underground, occasionally you'll break open into a cavern, and all those chunks obviously need to be generated right there and then, because you've just broken through a wall and a cavern needs to open up in front of you, which means those chunks now need to be generated right now. Which the mod need to force all the chunks to be generated right now. Back to point number 2, Mines of Moria. And then the game needed to run on 2 computers with a different number of CPU cores. The logic to generate chunks right now would attempt to use all the available CPU cores, but was done in a way that which the number of cores combined with other moving pieces would change the chunk generation results slightly.
Just ever so slightly.
Yeah, and you're going to explain this to us because we've spent 20 minutes talking about this back and forth.
20 minutes, well,
and,
40 minutes.
And I've been told in every scenario that I've come up with, I'm wrong. So Mojo, please take the stage and explain to us exactly with some sort of Factorio example how this works.
So as best as I can tell, what's happening is that the mod is forcing or requesting chunks to be generated. Then it is. I actually looked at the bug report and the mod code, and they were changing. It looked like they were changing deep water to shallow water. And then there is a specific function in the mod API where it says, "Please generate all of these chunks right now." So it's generating a big load of chunks, and generating them right now. And so then and then what's happening is that the chunk requests are being palmed off to all the cores, doing all the multi-threading, and then when they at some point when they're all being dispatched off, something is getting slightly damaged somewhere. And when all those chunks come back, one of them is slightly wrong. So it didn't generate consistently with what it should be, because the way the generator works is that you put the random seed in a position, and it will always come back with that particular chunk.
Yeah.
So you can do that on like in multiplayer, you do that on 10 different machines and you get the same result 10 times.
Yeah, you get the exact same result no matter what.
Yeah, you get the exact same result. But for whatever reason, as it's frantically trying to make these chunks generate, one of the chunks is effectively coming back with a result with a different seed. Okay, which means that something's slightly different. There could be a bush missing, there could be a database that wasn't supposed to be there. And then when when the game hands it back to the server and says, here's my chunks, here's the generated chunks, the server says, no, that's wrong, go away. And it just pushes it off a cliff.
Yep, so with people playing together, multiplayer between the two machines, they're both generating the exact same chunks with the exact same answers, and then we do a check to see, did you get the same answers I did? If you didn't, well, bad luck.
Bad luck, go away, disconnect. Just hangs up the phone.
Yep. So the good news...
I'm actually keen to find out what it specifically was. So unfortunately, it doesn't give an example.
An example, yep. So the fix wasn't that complex to implement and will be in 2.0. Just goes to show that multi-threading is hard, deterministic multi-threading even more so. Yep. Multi-threading is very hard, and this is why more games are adapting it, but it's not easy for devs. Issues. Yeah, it's not easy for devs to do, and there are lots of edge cases and weird issues that may come up. So then we have multiplayer auto pause. We have this feature of dedicated servers where the last player disconnects the server automatically pause. Works great, except it means you can leave a dedicated server up without having to worry about biters will eat your base when you're gone, except there are some edge cases we never got around to handling until now. So case number one, when you join an auto pause server, it instantly resumes running, which is fine, providing you have a CPU that catches up reasonably quickly. But we've had players that would join a server and they'd be like right on the edge, so they'd catch up for a little bit, then they'd fall behind for a little bit, then they'd catch up for a little bit and fall behind for a little bit. If there are other people on the server, they would just pause the server, and then that player would catch up.
You can't do it if the server's just sitting there.
If they're the only one on the server, they might have to wait to catch up. And I've known that we've had people join the server, and then they've been joining for an hour, where they're just catching up, falling behind, catching up, falling behind, because there was just no way to enable a pause, right, for a server. We actually found a mod. There is a mod that auto set the server speed to 0.001 when the first player joins the server, and then would resume it back to the speed it was after the players finished joining and fully into the game. The good news is there's another mod there.
It's funny, actually, as a side anecdote to that, there's been a few times in the past where we've had a server running, and the rule was to the last person always pauses it, but then every now and then accidentally it wouldn't be paused, and then nobody could join it again because it would unpause as they're joining, and you would either sit there at midpoint or you just start catching up backwards.
Yeah, Yeah,
And the person owning who owned the server was, in bed or at work or something, so they couldn't fix it.
yeah,
They couldn't just log in and pause it.
this is why we
Lower
have
the game speed.
multiple people that have server access, so they can just run a command remotely and just set the game speed to much slower, and people can join. But again, you got to get hold of that person, which sometimes can be easy, sometimes not so.
Sometimes not so much.
Yeah. So then we had case number 2. Joining players need to catch up to running a game. This works great for normal games, allowing existing players to continue without having to wait for the joining players. But players run into issues with much larger maps or slow internet connections. Someone joining might take 1, 2, several minutes to download, load, and catch up with the server fully if it continues on without them. For 2.0, we add an option to auto pause when a player is joining, which works exactly as it says. So again, we've had many servers where we'll physically pause for some players, all depends on where the server's up to game-wise. And now we can, when the server gets large enough, it's slow enough, we can just turn that on by default. And it means that, yeah, we just pause for a minute, 30 seconds, whilst different people join. I know Huff has...
Isn't that how it worked in... Well, so back in version 13 and early into 14, there were 2 different multiplayer systems. I have this vague recollection of the game pausing, waiting for someone to join.
I think that would have been...
Very early days.
I think that would have been probably 13 before they properly redid multiplayer. I think that happened... They released 13, I want to say, with multiplayer, and then redid it for 14. And then...
14 was only a minor update, and yeah, it was basically just multiplayer update.
Yeah, and I want to say that, yeah, the game paused outright until that player joined, downloaded that save file, was caught up and synced, and then the game continued from there.
I remember one of the first big multiplayer games that it was like hosted by Roomba, I think it was, way back when it first came out, and yeah, it was just constant pausing.
There's been... So when we run multiplayer servers, we have the non-auto blocking saves option turned on, which means the server just takes a save, and it's only available on Linux servers, takes the save, feeds that off to the player who's joining, and then the game just continues. And as long as this...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So in one of the later updates, that was also synced up with multiple players requesting to join. If it was already taking a save, it would add it to multiple, all the people that were joining at that point were added to that list, whereas this one didn't. It took a new save every time someone tried to join.
Yeah, that was a more recent update. They added that because more massive multiplayer attempts were made. And when you have 500 people joining, even if they're seconds apart, that is 500 times the server has to take a save, have it on the hard drive till it's been sent to that person, and then it can delete that save, but it still has to send the next save to the next person, and so on and so forth. And now I think there's a command you can put in, so it only takes a save like at most 1 minute apart. So if somebody joins the next 60 seconds, they just get the old save file. Good luck, you're gonna have an extra minute worth of catch up to do.
Good luck, a catch up. Good luck, catch up.
Yeah, but we have some players, like I know Huff, one of my mods, has a very bad internet connection, but he has a strong PC so he can catch up. But if it's a big map, we're not pausing for you, dude. You're going to spend 20 minutes just downloading the map. You'll spend 30 seconds catching up on everything that's happened since that 20-minute save, that saved 20 minutes ago. So yeah, it's good that it's added, as long as I got an option to, unpause manually when I want to. I think it's a great feature, and especially the auto pause, not unpausing until there's actually a player in the game, sounds great, because I know I've joined my own servers when I've been on the board. I'm like, nah, it's fine. I'll just load in. I don't want to log into the console to change the game speed to then wait till I'm in game and then speed it back up. And then turns out a biter attack happened that broke through a wall, which then meant I started catching up backward because there was massive attacks happening whilst I was trying to join.
Well, you're trying to join.
Yep, which was more things I had to process. So I started catching up backward on my own server. And then we have faster construction robot tasks, which has been a long requested feature by many, many people. And the answer is...
probably one of the longest running hanging over tasks.
Look, the answer is you either need more construction bots or you need to put down more concrete. Obviously, more concrete makes the robots go faster.
More concrete, yes.
Yeah.
There was a bug report about this that actually years ago when someone was complaining about it taking too long. And then I remember I was calculating that it was going to take like 32,000 years for him to finish.
Yeah.
At the current rate.
Yeah. And that's probably down to a production scale, not so much the bots moving stuff scale. A screenshot, they provide a little alert saying there's 600 jobs missing materials / robots. The issue has been there since the beginning of robots, and still, today, we don't have a nice solution for it. The problem is, given a task robots need to do, the game needs to find the best robot from the logistics network that's in range to do that thing. The check for is the logistics network in range of enemy is O times robot port count. And we do not control how slow that is going to be because a player can build one robot port or 10 or 100,000 or as many as their computer can take. So we need to make sure that the operation doesn't just grind the game to a halt whilst it runs. We do this by only processing a few construction robot tasks per each tick. In 1.1, the game will check construction jobs 3 times per game update. If it fails to find a robot, it will stop for the current update. Alerts for failed attempts last for 10 seconds, so in 60 updates per second and 10 seconds per alert. That means 600 alerts will be created before the first one times out. This is where the magic 600 jobs, missing jobs, materials, robots alert comes from. It's worked this way for as long as I've worked on Factorio. No, it's been that way for...
Always.
No, it never used to be 600. It used to be a different number.
Oh yeah, it used to be 1200, didn't it?
No, it used to be like 4 something. 450 or something? It was a weird number. It ended in a weird number. It was like 400.
I think that was part of how it timed out.
468 or something. It used to be a really odd number.
I don't remember now.
It was never around 600. Around 600 was an update. So yeah. I will likely keep working like that at some basic level. We can't just crank up the count of tasks being checked with each update because we know that operation is potentially slow, and slower the more robo ports a player builds. Earlier this year, we had someone, forum post, run across the issue again. They decided to solve it themselves by doing what we said we can't do, crank up the checked tasks per update, except they went from one per update to 374. Also, they built 36,815 robots. It was as predicted slow. That seems fine to me. That looks like robot coverage.
Appropriate number.
That looks like perfect robot coverage. I see no issues. Like they get walls around the outside. It's everything. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know why this green bit's missing. It feels like more robots are needed. More robots. Yeah. But got me wondering, what if I can make the slow part a lot faster? Like change the algorithm faster. Inspiration hit me when I remember that we have a set of logic in the game that already takes the robot port, logistic and construction areas and compute all the resulting rectangle union. In simple terms, what it does is produce a nice set of duplicate rectangles that cover the total area for all the robots. We use this for rendering to avoid a lot of overdraw when robots are near one another. That combined with sorting resulting rectangles mean I could do a simple binary search to check if a given task was in the network area. In the end, the check went from O to the N, which is really bad, to O.
A linear expansion in processing time.
Yeah, every extra robot adds more time. Substantially more time.
O to the N, as in 36,815 is a big number.
Yeah. To O to the N on 900 rectangle uni areas, which
is O 900 is a big number, but still not as bad as 36,815.
Yep, and I'm guessing that this particular image we're seeing here has 900 rectangle union areas.
I would imagine so.
To O to the log of N on 900 rectangle union areas, which seems a lot lower.
It's a lot lower.
Yeah.
O log N is what a binary search drops O to the N down to.
Yeah. The time to check is...
That made sense to someone.
In the network went from expensive to essentially free. With this speed up, I was able to crank up the tasks to getting checked for 2.0 and hopefully put this issue to rest. The good news is, I believe this... I know I read it on Reddit somewhere, that this is addressable by the mods. Mods can interface with this.
Yeah, Factorio does this already. They raise it from 3 to some number bigger than 3.
But more importantly, mods can address this going forward. So if it's already set to 10, well, maybe you want to set to 36,815 jobs at once. And as long as you don't paste down
to the number of jobs that are available, just make it automatically scale.
Yeah, as long as you don't paste down like the whole world in concrete in one hit, it should be fine. Should be. Should be. But it now means on my own community maps, nobody can bitch at me anymore if I go and I just pave the whole world in refined concrete. For the record. Because it's important you have refined concrete.
One of the Clustorio maps where you did something and it ground the server to a halt.
No idea.
I think it was a Clustorio map.
I've done lots of weird things on Clustorio maps. Lots of weird things on Clustorio maps.
I mean, we've all done weird things on Clustorio maps.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I'm important enough that I'm allowed access, I'm allowed to do some things, but by the same token, I'm not important enough that I have to deal with the problem when it breaks. And I have a feeling somebody turned on my integration on one server. And then somebody redeemed something that affected every player on the server, which affected every player on the server. And there was like 100 and something people on the server. They were all given fair warning that bad things might happen if you join the server, and they joined anyway. So yeah. It could have been setting everybody's pants on fire. It could have been everybody exploded. I don't remember. But yeah, there's been a few times servers have come to a dead halt because of integration have done something to many players at once. I don't think our setting is going to look at the optimization of the many explosions of many players as they walk across the map. I don't think he's going to spend time looking at that. I hope he does. You know,
it's a very simple pre-filter, and it's a mod causing it. If a mod is causing it, then not a bug.
Well, technically a mod's not causing it. Technically it's a default reactor that was going critical underneath every player's feet, which is, yes, put there by a mod.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for this Friday Facts. It's a quick Friday Facts. It's a quiet Friday Facts. It's a fairly simple Friday Facts.
It's easy. Just enable. Just run the enable function.
Just turn on multi-threading. Just function multi-thread. Okay. A big thumbs up at the end. But do have a couple of notes we need to add. This has been the last couple of Friday Facts have been a little bit quiet, a little bit short compared to previous Friday Facts. A lot more text, a lot more pictures, a lot more information. The last couple have been a little bit shorter, a little bit quieter, which does bring us to the question of, are we getting closer to the 2.0 release? Yeah. And
according to Reddit, we are. They decoded the binary in the thumbnail.
Yeah, well, we have the thumbnail, which you clicked on, obviously, to watch this video. And according to Reddit, it is going to come out on the 27th, 10th, 24th.
I thought it was the 24th or 27th, 2010.
No. I think it was the, what was it? It was the
7th, 11th, 4102.
No, because now you've rearranged numbers. No. It's going to come out on the 27th of the 10th, 2420. So it's like 400 years away.
Yes.
They probably have all the bugs will ironed out by then. Probably. Seeding's great-great-great-grandchild will have this optimized so well you can play it on your toaster. Yep.
They also missed the opportunity to decode it in Octal and any other weird base like base 5.
Look.
I feel like they missed the opportunity there. It could be hidden in something very obtuse.
They missed the opportunity. The devs missed the opportunity to make it nice and simple and have it decode to Mojo's favorite day, and that is the 30th of Feb. Any year, 30th of Feb.
30th of Feb, 2032.
Yep. So potentially it's close. Also, potentially, I don't think it's this close. I think if anything, if this comes true in any way, shape, or form, it's more likely to be this is the date we're going to say that we're releasing 2.0, rather than being the actual release date for 2.0. Because I can see them doing a November launch. But I gotta say,
in November, yeah.
I gotta say, look, when launching a new game or an update to a game, it's very, very important that you look at Steam and you see what other games are coming out at that time, and you potentially move your release date, like they did for 1.0, and then they moved it so then it overlapped with, what did it overlap with anyway?
I think
Cyberpunk. Yeah, they moved it to avoid Cyberpunk, then Cyberpunk got delayed, and then it came out the same week anyway. So, yeah. yeah, it's worth looking and seeing what's coming out at roughly the same time and potentially moving release dates. But with all that said and done, I think we're going to be moving to the end of this video, and I'm going to thank you guys for watching as always, and say we'll see you next week for Friday Next 416. And Mojo, for the record, I was right. I was right.
We're right.
Yep, I asked for bugs, and we got bugs.
Yeah, now you don't get your biter bugs. Biter update.
Oh, I want
You got your bugs already.
I want the other type of bugs. I want to have bugs that I can shoot.
I feel like we are getting close to that point. We are approaching that point where we might find something out about enemies.
So
Either that or they're holding out until release.
Is that going to be your guess for next week? Are you going to go for bugs as well? Not us eating type of bugs.
Hangover things that we haven't seen yet. So I've mentioned this a few times. The how do you get back down off the platform?
Down from the platform?
And the hub. I believe there's a building there that we haven't seen yet.
We haven't seen the final building for the hub. We've got a placeholder.
Yeah, the final building for the hub. We've seen the connected storages. I thought there was a building on the ground. The outpost for the other planets. We haven't seen that.
We mean the outpost.
Isn't there meant to be an outpost?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Goes down, so you can get back up to the hub.
You just climb in a rocket.
Oh, it's just the mechanism for getting back down. Currently, it just teleports you down.
Yeah,
I thought there was like a building that you come down in.
Well,
a space parachute.
We don't know what sort of space parachute escape capsule you have to get down, and I'm assuming you just climb in a rocket to fly up with whatever the rocket's carrying. But the rocket has a weight limit, so hopefully you didn't have too many bug bits for lunch. Otherwise, you might go over the weight limit. Yeah.
And carrying too much concrete in your pockets.
Yeah. Or hell, too many whole complete rocket silos.
Whole rocket silos, trains, and
yeah.
And steel.
Actually, I wonder if you're going to be able to take your inventory up with you.
There's no reason why you can't. I mean, you're locked in the hub.
Yeah, but it means you can move an awful lot of stuff from planet to planet, rather than relying on your space for your space tugs. I'm going to call them space tugs because they're going to be big and slow to start with. That's an interesting one. There's a lot that we don't know.
Isn't there? I vaguely remember there was talk about there's actually 14 science packs now. Like there was a whole bunch more science packs.
Yeah, there's the science packs we know about. So we have the, 7 in the game currently?
Yeah, 7 currently as of 1.1.
So we have 4 more added, which brings us up to 11.
11.
And then we have, in theory, 3 more.
Yeah.
Because the devs have confirmed it is 14. But that might change.
14, not 16.
It might change. It's not written in the Friday Facts yet, so it might change. But yeah, next week, my bet is going to be on bugs, and Mojo is going to go for one of the many things we don't know about yet.
Yeah, I'm sort of leaning. I'm expecting them to talk about platforms again, because we haven't learned anything about the interaction there. It's also equally likely that it'll be something boring again.
No.
I'd say boring relatively.
I think you're probably right with the platforms. It's been a while. I think we're due for some sort of update on the platforms. But I'm still going to go with my bugs because eventually I'll be right.
Eventually you'll be right.
Yeah.
Broken clock is right at least once a day.
Unless it's running slow, at which point it's potentially right once a day. Or if it's running fast, potentially it's never right and it's only right once a week.
That'd be the other way around. If it was running slow, then it would be right less times a week, and if it was running fast, it would be right multiple times a day.
Sure. It all depends on how fast or slow it happens to be. But either way, we need to leave the Friday Facts here. As always, thank you guys so much for joining us. I will see you in next week for 416 when we get to find out about bugs. Anyway, with all that said and done, thanks for watching. See you next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.